Hi everyone, welcome back to the Bootleg. It's 2022 football season. We're kicking off another year of the Bootleg. I'm Tom Kreager, high school sports editor of the Tennessean. That's Joe Spears, I believe. It's been a while since I've seen you face to face.
It's been a long time.
Yeah. We're coming back with our high school football show. We'll be coming to you live each week. We're week one, but there's a lot of stuff we can touch base on before we actually get to the fun part, the games. I was at the TSPLA Board of Control meeting on Monday. Actually had it in Lebanon at the Board of Education there for Wilson County. TSPLA, more or less, to use a football term, they punted on classification. They're gonna keep it status quo for the next 3 years, basically. But in 2 years, they will hopefully have a plan that has been thought out and has been foolproof, and they will know everything about it because that's what they said they wanted to do. They do not want to keep tweaking it. They want to have a plan, and they want to have time to work on it. So, TSPLA, you're on the clock for the next really 2 years to come up with a plan that everyone can figure out and everyone knows. And while not everyone's going to agree on it, hopefully enough people will agree on it and they can play. We'll figure out what they're going to do. By then, maybe they'll just like what they do. Who knows? It could be as simple as just dropping district tournaments in baseball, softball, and basketball and go straight to regions, or it could be something totally different.
Correct.
That was the first big news. We've come up with our rankings. We've ranked all of our high schools that play football 1 to 131. We've also come up with our Super 25, which is all of our high school riders across the state. We vote basically 1 through 25, who we think are the best 25 programs in the state. That's basically, can this team beat this team? All right, we'll rank this team above them. Familiar team is on the top of both polls, Lipscomb Academy. Did you pull some strings to do this?
I did not, no, but I think it was kind of unanimous. I mean, Lipscomb Academy, while they lost a lot, Luther Richardson, Alex Broom, they returned a lot, especially on that defensive side of the ball. Edwin Spillman, number one player in next year's class. The scrimmage I saw him in, he was the best player on the field, and it wasn't even close. Followed closely by Caleb Beasley, though, I guess you could say. I mean, Beasley had a pick in that one. Defensively, the Mustangs are going to be loaded. Offensively, there's a lot of questions, but Hank Brown's really good. Nate Spillman's really good. Maurice Sherrill's probably the most underrated receiver, I think, in the mid-state.
I still call him Junior.
Junior Sherrill, correct. But they have a lot of weapons. I don't think we'll really get to really experience Lipscomb Academy until maybe week 3, though, because of who they have the first 2 weeks.
Yes. Someone has told me close to the program, don't be surprised if at some point they're throwing for 600 yards during the game. I don't know if that's how good Hank Brown is, or is that's where their run game is right now. He did throw for a little over 400 yards in a final scrimmage against Father Ryan. That was basically playing a half plus, I think, one series in the second half. So he can throw the football. He's a different quarterback than Luther Richardson. I think he's probably a little bit more stronger. I think Luther's probably a little more accurate. Of course, Luther was a 3-year starter. This is Hank's first year there, and of course he's going to Liberty. Hank is. So we had 5 voters this week. 4 of the 5 voted Lipscomb number 1. The other one that received a first place vote, Kevin Creasy down in Murfreesboro, Oakland High School, 30 straight wins, back-to-back state titles. Why in the world did we all not vote them number 1?
Well, Oakland lost a lot. I mean, Jordan James is gone, Isaiah Horton's gone. You look at those two, but even more probably important is that front line, that defensive line. They lost 2 really good starters there on the defensive line they'll have to replace. So a lot of questions about Oakland, but Kevin Creasy's Kevin Creasy. Oakland's going to be good this year. There's a lot of unknown guys. We've seen it in 7-on-7s. We've seen it in scrimmages. These guys can play. They're just young. C.J. Puggett, Khalil James, T.T. What's his name? I forgot his last name. T.T.
I saw him play live last year. My kid played freshman football with him, so yeah, I've seen him.
He's an up-and-coming sophomore, and he's very good. Jeremiah Collins, a transfer from Louisville. I mean, They got pieces, and they got Cade Hewitt back at quarterback, so Oakland's going to be fine, I think. They may, early in the season, you'll have some growing pains, as always, but once they get rolling, it's hard to see somebody topping the Patriots again.
And backup quarterback is Kevin's son, and
right.
he's just a sophomore. Saw him play live too. Was not a good game watching that freshman game. They were really good last year. They won that freshman league in Rutherford County, and there's a lot of good talent coming up the ranks. So Now we're going to just transition. Let's talk about our top 10 games for week one. Remember, we have Thursday night games and Friday night games this year. About 20 games across the state are going to be played every week due to a shortage of officials. Again, that's more of a move for quality over quantity, just because TSBA has felt there are some officials, maybe due to health reasons or age, that they're brand new officials, that they don't feel comfortable with some officials, starting off with varsity. Some of them, I think from what I was told, there are some people on the field last year that they just felt like maybe should have been as clock operator or on the sideline. So this is their way of keeping things healthy for there. So it's a good decision. Personally, I think I'm going to like the Thursday night games. I think we're going to see great games. The teams have been told that they're going to get the best officials the TSBA can get from those associations since they're playing on Thursday. So that's going to be a helpful thing too. Game of the week last year, game of the week this year. Montgomery Bell Academy, coming off a state runner-up finish. They traveled to Ravenwood. Folks, I've been told by Coach Hester that the school system has been working on those lights. If anyone's been at Ravenwood the last few months, it's very dark there. They had a lot of lights out. They had a lot of lights were twisted due to the weather. They've been working on those. Feeling pretty good that by Friday night they're going to be good to go there. They're hosting NBA. Ravenwood, it's a Egg Bowl preview. It's Marcel Reed going to Ole Miss for NBA versus Chris Parson, the Ravenwood quarterback that just committed to Mississippi State a week ago, or this last weekend. Give me your breakdown on this.
You were at this game last year. You saw the debut of Chris Parson here in Tennessee. Maybe a rough one, but then again, Ravenwood was missing quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
This should be a really good game. I don't think it'll be the 56-28 blowout that it was last year. You got two of the state's top quarterbacks, not just mid-state, the state. Chris Parson, number 10 in the state, Marcel, number 9. I think in our Dandy Dozen, Chris was 4, Marcel was 5. So two really good quarterbacks that can kind of do, if Marcel may be an underrated runner when you really look at it. He doesn't run the ball a ton, but when he does, he has great legs. Chris, he's a shorter version of Destin Wade, I think. He's very athletic. He can take off with the ball. Great arm. I mean, we've all seen his arm. He makes some incredible passes. The CPA scrimmage, he had a sidearm pass that was just incredible to watch. This is going to really, I think, come down to whose front or offensive line can push the other defense around. NBA did that last year. They have Jonathan Moore at running back this year. He's a really good running back, very powerful runner.
He's picked up some muscle.
He's gotten very big. So if NBA can establish the run game, which I think they can, I think that's going to be the difference here. Ravenwood has to find that go-to weapon for Chris Parson. I think it may take a couple weeks for them to get it. That's why I got NBA winning this one 31-27.
Great analysis.
Thanks.
I think we even agree for the most part on the score. Close. Again, last year it was Chris Parsons' first game. Wasn't his best game. I remember Miles Pollard was out. Dudas was out at linebacker, like we talked about.
Right.
The problem I've seen Ravenwood twice in the preseason. I think the line has got some questions. They've been working on it. They're not what they were that first scrimmage against BA and Father Ryan in that three-way scrimmage there, which was weird anyway.
Yeah.
They had a little bit of issues, I think, with CPA. They fixed some things though. They felt a little bit better. They felt better with that. But I think with NBA, with Gabe Fisher, who was our athlete of the year, wrestler of the year, and then Eric George, that's Eddie's son. He's gotten thicker. He's got massive hamstrings. I mean, the kid is athletic as all get out, playing on the defensive end. And then Gabe Fisher will play probably both ways on the O-line and D-line. He's a monster on the D-line there. I think those two players there are going to give that line fits. Now, here's the thing, the ray of hope, I think, or the hope for Ravenwood. In the scrimmages I've seen, they've really kind of kept Chris from taking off running. We know Chris Parson can take off and make things. He ran for over 1,000 yards.
Yeah.
He can jump over people. Of course, that's a hurdling penalty, but we won't go into that.
It's whatever.
But I think Ravenwood, that helps Ravenwood. It keeps it close. But I think at the end of the day, NBA's looking really good. 35-28 NBA over Ravenwood at Ravenwood would be a two-game series sweep for them. And I mean, it's a great matchup, great public-private matchup.
Agreed.
Two teams. I think they're. I think it's like number 3, number 4 in our 1-131. So
a lot of similarities.
Yeah. So Independence and of course NBA at Ravenwood. That's where I'll be Friday night. That's our game of the week. I'll be there reporting, tweeting, posting on Instagram, everything else there. Independence at CPA. That's where you're going to be at.
Correct. Yeah.
A lot of storylines there. I mean, we could go a lot of different ways on this game, from Little League World Series to Alabama commitments. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, there's so many storylines with this game. When you look at CPA, I mean, you gotta look at Ingle Martin. Will Ingle Martin be there or not?
Mm-hmm.
His son's playing in the Little League World Series. A lot hinges on it's you may not see Ingle Martin Friday.
Mm-hmm.
If not, it's for a great reason. You can't deny that.
Yeah.
Outside of that, CPA, it's a brand new looking team. Langston Patterson's gone. Cade Law's gone. What is CPA going to bring? I mean, Thomas Vaccaro's looked really good in the scrimmages I've seen him in. He's got a big arm. He's really improved upon that. London Humphrey's back. He might be the fastest wide receiver in the mid-state right now, especially with Barry and Brown graduated. A lot of weapons throughout the CPA team. Cade's younger brother Cruz manning that defense. CPA, they may have lost a lot, and I think maybe a lot of people see that. They're still going to be really good. Then the flip side of that, Independence, new coach Scott Sidham comes over from South Gibson, ran triple offense there at South Gibson. He's not going to do that at Independence, so he's got way too many weapons. Cody Pagak, a junior quarterback that's really rising, got an offer from Pitt. He's got a big arm. He's a tall, skinny kid, but he's got a huge arm. I think he's really going to improve as the year goes on. Trey Hartwell back for his final year at running back.
It's like 6 years.
It seems like it. He's been around forever. He's great. He's a great back. And then you have Brooks Pony, who in the independent scrimmages and everything I've seen, he's been my favorite player to watch. He's one of their starting safeties. He can play quarterback. He can play wide receiver. If they throw him at quarterback, he'll be a little bit of that Jackson Campbell mode where he can throw, but he's also he can run. I mean, kid's got legs. So then you look at Ty Lockwood. There is a chance he doesn't play this week. Not sure really what his status is, but 4-star Alabama tight end commitment. If he does play, that's a big target for Cody.
It's one of his favorite targets.
It's one of his favorites. They've really gotten to know each other. They play a lot of summer ball together at camps and everything. So last year this was a blowout. CPA kind of cruised. I think it'll be closer this year, though. I think CPA wins it, but it'll be 28-24.
I'm going 24-21 CPA over Independence. I hope you're not talking to Ingle. I hope that means, which means his kids are winning and stuff. As we're filming this is the game is actually about ready to start or is started. So this full disclosure, we don't know at this time. We don't know who's won. So like the full disclosure there. So another game, Blackman at Brentwood, blazing fast versus the Bruins.
Last year, 38-35 Blackman. Offense wasn't an issue for the Blaze last year. They averaged 33 points. The big question is how improved is that defense? They gave up almost 38 points per game last year. Offense, I don't think is going to be an issue again this year. Jack Reasoner's back. Ben Marshall, recent Cal commit at tight end. Justin Brown, we all know what Justin Brown does. He's explosive. They also added Jacob Page.
At some point, he's going to go on the field.
At some point. He may miss week 1, though, with a hand injury. I mean, we all saw what he did at Ensworth. The kid can play. Offense won't be an issue. It's just a matter of how good can Blackman's defense be. If they're 10 points better than they were last year,
be a pretty good team.
They're going to be a really good team. And I wouldn't be shocked to see some of those skill position guys play defense at some point. Justin Brown, you might see on the defensive side of the ball.
I think Justin Brown, I think Ben Marshall. I think at some point Jacob Brown may see a snap or two there.
Might, yeah. They have to do anything to improve that defense. I think they will. I mean, you give up 38 points per game, that's a lot. Flip side of that, Brentwood, a lot of question marks. You don't really know what the Bruins have coming back. They lost quite a bit. But Brentwood's Brentwood. They're going to reload. They always have great athletes come through. I think Blackman wins. I think they score 10 more than the Bruins this year. I got Blackman winning a high-scoring one, 45-35.
Still don't know 100% who the quarterback is at Brentwood. I think it's the transfer from Michigan. I don't have his name in front of me from what I've kind of been piecing together. But I'm like you. I think Blackman wins this game in another shootout. I think we're going to be. They're replacing. I think they replaced like 10 starters on defense. I think is what I've read. In fact, Cecil Joyce, our high school writer in Murfreesboro, he's got a story basically on Blackman's defense on how it can get better after a miserable 2021. Sorry, Coach Tiger, we've mentioned that defense one more time. I know you're tired of hearing about it, but I think Blackman 45, Brentwood 42, in another high-scoring affair. Now let's go to Father Ryan at East Nashville. East Nashville coming off a record season, state runner-up against a Father Ryan team that, I think I picked them last in the region, and some coaches told me they noticed that. They weren't really happy, but I think that's a tribute of how good that region is
Right.
the best league in the. I mean, you look at Macaulay, NBA, Pope John Paul, Baylor, Father Ryan. I mean, that's a Catholic, Knoxville
Yeah.
Catholic. That's a really strong region.
Yeah, I don't think being picked last in that region's the worst thing in the world.
Yeah.
You're still a great team. They had a great season last year. I
Mhm.
think they went 7-5. They went
Yeah,
1-5
something
in region play. They played it, and they played a lot of those teams close.
Mhm.
Played Macaulay really close. So
Mhm.
I think Father Ryan's in for a really good year. I think they have a lot of great pieces. Drake Carlson leading that defense. Purdue commitment. Didn't go to your Hoosiers. Purdue commitment though. He's great on defense, and defense is really, I think, going to be their calling card. They got some weapons on offense, but last year they started off the year just a dominant 35-6 win over East Nashville.
Mhm.
East Nashville really rebounded from that. They schedule hard for the postseason, which has really helped them last year. Amarian Ford's gone. They have to find that running back replacement, though. Have Zach Beard back at quarterback. They have Frank Gordon back at wide receiver. The offense will be fine. I think East Nashville will give them a better game this year. I just think Father Ryan's really good. They're really one of those underrated teams, and it's because you see them last in that region. They're still really good. The Irish are going to make some noise this year. They beat East Nashville 28-14.
I'm going Father Ryan 31, East Nashville 15. I agree with you. I mean, they've got some talent there. I know they've lost a kid from their secondary is out for the year that was getting some looks for some like Tennessee Tech, I think it offered. Drake Carlson, kind of like Ty Lockwood, he didn't play during the spring preseason. I think he had a little bit of a ding on his, I think maybe an ankle.
Yeah.
Nothing that it's nothing that should keep him out of the season.
Right.
Everything I was told he could have played, just precautionary.
Right.
When you got a 3-star, 4-star kid, I mean, why would you put him in there for scrimmage? You know what he can do.
Right.
We won't address the fact that he's going to Purdue when I'm an Indiana graduate. I've mentioned that to him. At our Dandy Doesn't Shoot it, and so he knows how I feel about that. But again, 31-15, Father Ryan wins against a improved East Nashville. You know, they're returning not as many as you'd love. I mean, they've lost some good players. So Cane Ridge at Pearl. This is a Thursday night game. That's at Pearl Cone. It's Cane Ridge at Pearl Cone. Two of the probably top 3 programs in Metro Nashville. Eddie Woods has done a great job there. I think Cane Ridge is a team that really got hurt with COVID, not being able to go in the weight room and stuff. I think they really have turned the corner. But Pearl Cone is still Pearl Cone. They're still the pride of Nashville, or the team to beat in Nashville at least.
Yeah, absolutely. Pearl kind of cruised in this matchup last year, won it by 19 points without Barry Brown. He had been suspended for that game. Malachi Cromwell comes in, runs for over 200 yards and 3 touchdowns. So I think we'll see a closer game this year. I was really impressed with Pearl's defense, though, when I saw them against Lipscomb Academy. They only allowed 1 touchdown to that first-team Lipscomb offense, which is impressive enough because when you saw them, they were scoring that well against a really good Father Ryan defense. So I think defense will be Pearl's calling card this year. They're really good. I think this team really, they're going to be more complete. They're not going to have that one grand star. I mean, Dearius Robinson, he's going to be an up-and-coming, or Dearius Reed, sorry. He's an up-and-coming guy. He has an offer from Ole Miss. He may be that next great receiver. They have Krishawn Tarleton back at quarterback. He's really good. I just think Pearl has too many weapons. I do think Cane Ridge is going to be great again, and I'd be shocked if they didn't finish in the top 2 in their region. They just start the year off with a loss. I got Pearl Cone winning 33-17.
I've got Pearl Cone 42, Cane Ridge 21. I agree with you about everything. Not so sure the Cromwell kid, I've heard he might be dinged up. They may hold him out because of a little slight some injury stuff. I mean, and I know talking to Tony at the Metro Media Day, he said they were a little dinged up.
Yeah.
I've been told that Cromwell might be one of those guys, or maybe he may hold him out. We'll wait and see on that. So we'll see what happens there. Hendersonville at Oakland. Oakland. That's all we talk about.
Yep.
Oakland. Well, let's talk about the Patriots.
Well, when a team wins 30 consecutive games with 2 state titles, it's hard not to talk about it. Even when they lose, it kind of makes it more interesting, don't you think? Who are these kids that are going to replace the likes of Jordan James and Isaiah Horton? They have a lot. TTL, Khalil James, CJ Puckett, like we mentioned earlier. I think Oakland will have some growing pains early in the season. A lot of young guys. I think they have kind of the schedule there early, though, where you play these tough teams like a Hendersonville. You should be favoring that game. Hendersonville also lost a lot.
Yeah.
But you're going to get these guys playing time. There will be the growing pains. You'll still be the favorite. I think Oakland has a tougher time. Maybe they score a couple late. I got them winning 31-13 this time around.
I believe in Kevin Creasy. I've said many times this team it's a team where we had household names: Jordan James, Isaiah Horton, Antonio Patterson.
Right.
We've seen them play for the last 2 or 3 years.
Right.
The kids we see now, we don't know them, but they're still going to be stars.
Yeah.
You mentioned TT. TT can run.
Yeah.
He's really, really dynamic runner. He's going to be fun to watch if you're an Oakland fan the next 3 years. I think he could be special.
Yeah.
Khalil James is going to be good. He's gotten some mop-up time. They're going to miss Eric Taylor. Eric Taylor's out for the first half of the season due to labrum or something. He had he had an injury, had surgery. But I think they'll be fine. Oakland 42, Hendersonville 14, and that's not disrespecting Hendersonville. I think Oakland is really strong, and I think Hendersonville graduated several key skill players. I think the one kid graduated early, I think.
Yep.
I mean, they lost some really talented skill players, and they may be better than that, but I don't know who those. It's kind of like Oakland. I don't know who this. I kind of have an idea who the stars might be at Oakland. I don't know who the stars are going to be at Hendersonville right now.
Fair.
Mount Juliet at Gallatin. Great. This is an old school game. If you're old school Nashville, this is a game you want to go to. It's like two great communities playing together. This is what it's all about.
This is the type of game where Mount Juliet can right all the wrongs for how last season ended. They started off the year with the 34-13 win over Gallatin. They won 6 straight. Mm-hmm. Lose the station camp, and then they lose 6 straight, including the first round playoff exit. I think they are sick of hearing about that, so I'm sorry for mentioning it again.
Sorry, Trey.
But I think this Mount Juliet team is really talented. They have Osaize Daniel back at wide receiver / quarter.
You say that name right?
I can't pronounce his last. Yeah,
okay.
Osaize Daniel. Sorry.
Okay.
Ethan Chris back manning the defense. Vanderbilt commitment. He's really good. Just missed out on our Dandy Dozen. He led him in most defensive categories last year. Aiden Bustle, it'll be interesting to see how he mans that offensive line for them. I think the big X factor for them, and I think it's what they missed, especially in that station camp game, was the run game. Mm-hmm. Who do they have at running back? Darius Morton, an NBA transfer, set out last year. He's a big 6'1" kid. Seems like he's going to be their starting back this year, or will be one of them. I've heard he's really good from what I've seen. I'd like to get out and see him at some point. I just think Mount Juliet has a little more weapons than Gallatin has. They have Jaheim Merriweather, who really came on in the middle part.
He's got offers.
He
on offers on offers.
He's a kid we're really going to be looking at next year. And this year, I think he played half the year and still finished with 800 yards rushing or something like that. So I think he'll have a good game. I just don't know if Gallatin will have enough. I got Mount Juliet winning this one 27-14.
Chad, this is where we're different. I believe in you, buddy. Merriweather, he's going to have a big game. I just want to be different.
Yeah,
you know?
Fair.
So I picked the Green Wave. It's at Gallatin. Home field advantage. Gallatin 17. Mount Juliet 14. We'll see what happens.
All right.
Springfield at Greenbrier. This is a great rivalry. My
is.
first high school sports gig in Tennessee, after I was covering James Wilhoit in Hendersonville, his senior year in Hendersonville. Of course, UT Vols kicker.
Yeah.
Midway through the season, I got promoted to Robertson County Times, my first high school sports job in Tennessee. And Springfield Greenbrier was there for a year and a half. Great rivalry, great game. This is like, if you like good high school football rivalries, if you're in that area, go see Springfield at Greenbrier. It's a great game, great coaches, great communities there. So go ahead.
Yeah, it's a great rivalry game. Springfield's dominated in recent years, though, including a 44-0 win last year. Springfield's a really good team.
I'm trying to help their gate, and you're just tearing it down.
However, I do think it'll be a better game this year. Springfield does return a lot of that team last year. They're going to be really good. Devin Crenshaw and Lamarius Daniels are back. They're going to lead that. Then Greenbrier, you got DJ Jackson. Nathan Robinson, who I think could be one of the best defensive players in the Mid-State. He saw him at our Dandy Doesn't Shoot. Kid is huge. So it'll be interesting to see just how they do on that side of the ball. They have questions to answer on offense, but I think Springfield has too many weapons. I got them winning 27-17.
I got called out last year on our all mid-state teams when Robinson was not on our all mid-state team. Probably should have.
Fair.
That's probably a boneheaded mistake. I don't know who I would have taken off. Probably should have put him on there.
I think he had 17 sacks or something.
Yeah, I don't know what I was. I don't know what I was doing that day. I pass on. I could blame it on you, but we all know that was my mistake. Whatever. The kid's really good.
Yeah.
The problem is Springfield's really good.
Springfield.
Folks, Springfield is a team. If they can get past Henry County, it's a team that could make a pretty nice drive in the playoffs. All right, I'm gonna go Springfield 28, Greenbrier 7. They're gonna score. Springfield's really good.
Yeah.
I mean, Nathan Robinson can't do it all.
Correct.
But I think it's a great game. We'll have a photographer there. Last 2 games, Page at Fairview. Let's speed this up. This is the TV game.
Yep.
So if you can't get out there at Fairview, it's a long haul. Turn it on My TV 30 game. So what you got?
Colin Hurd, he's the X factor in this game. He came in last year when Jake McNamara got hurt, threw for 3 touchdowns, led to a 28-20 victory.
And now he's the starter.
Yeah, it looks like he'll be the starter. Obviously, a great defensive player as well. But do they have more weapons? I think Page has enough. I do think it'll be another close. It's a rivalry game. We all know how these rivalries.
Battle of 840 or something like that.
Leighton Grant will do what he can to keep Fairview in this. I think Hurd gets a touchdown late, and Page wins it 21-17.
My handwriting isn't great. I believe I wrote 20-13 Page over Fairview. That sounds about right. Great rivalry game. Chris Hughes, he's a Fairview guy. This is a game he really wants to win. But Coach Rathbone, we undersell, I think, Page more than anyone. I mean, they made it to the championship game. They're really dang good.
Yeah.
I mean, they have been good the last few years. They're going to be fine. They're going to be in the talk in 5A, I think.
Agreed.
Last game, MTCS at DCA.
DCA started off the year with a blowout win against MTCS last year. If you haven't seen our way too early championship predictions, I picked DCA. I'm not sure if you did or not. I picked them to repeat as champions, and you didn't pick them. Wow.
Sorry, Coach.
I think a lot of that has to do with Ashton Jones. He ran for 1,700 yards and 25 touchdowns as a sophomore. He's back. He's going to be leading that offense. DCA lost a lot. I think Ashton Jones is the kind of guy in D2A that can lead you to a state championship, and I think they start off the year with a big win. I got them winning 35-17.
DCA wins. The problem I have with DCA is they're really talented. It's just if they have injuries, their depth is not there.
Fair.
They had this issue last year. They didn't get injuries. If they get injuries this year, it's gonna be tough. DCA 20-7. Go log in and read the state champion prediction so you can see who I picked. It was not DCA, but it was heavily considered. I could see them in the championship game. So that's our top 10 games. We are gonna wrap it up. You'll be at ProCon on Thursday, at
Correct.
CPA on Friday.
Correct.
I'm going on the road. I'm going to Tullahoma on Thursday, and then I'll be at Ravenwood on Friday. If you see us, say hello. Follow us on all of our platforms, the Tennessean Sports Instagram, of course. We'll be putting a lot of stuff. We'll be on Twitter. I'm at Kreager. You are
At Joe_Spears7.
One day we'll talk about that 7. We'll see you next week on the Bootleg. Thanks for tuning in.